Hello, hockey fans, and welcome to a brand new edition of IceHogs WarmUp. Joseph Zakshesky with you alongside Brittany Toulis as we get you all squared away for game number 6 of the Western Conference Finals. The IceHogs, after 2 consecutive wins, have now shifted the series back to Cedar Park, Texas. And Brittany, certainly exciting times for Rockford going into this one. And of course, we'll hear from the coaching staff, the players, and dive into the 3 keys. But man, oh man, this IceHogs group continues to believe, not after an overtime victory in game 4, and they come away with a big win in game number 5 all on home ice.
Yeah, this team is not giving up. They were down 0-3 and now just down by 1 game, looking to force a game 7 after tonight. So this team is one that you cannot kind of take lightly. It doesn't matter how much they're down, how many goals you have on them, they're going to come back and fight you.
Well, let's take a look at that game 5 action here at BMO Harris Bank Center. That would force this series to go back to Central Texas. It would all start in the opening period. The IceHogs knew they had to get off to a great start, and certainly they would do that off a wonderful goal just 3 minutes and a second in from defenseman Cody Franzen.
And it was one of his ones we see a lot, just straight from the blue line, kind of fires it, and Mike McKenna just doesn't see it, and it goes straight in. And it was, like I said, they needed a great start. They needed a fast one, especially against this Texas team who, if you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile, and it's very easy to get behind with them.
And, of course, that was from a nice grind line effort for the Rockford IceHogs. Henrik Samuelson, Tanner Caro, William Peltier. They were all grinded away in the offensive zone to help filter pucks back out to the blue line. And, of course, Victor Spedbrick and Cody Franzen. We saw a lot of that veteran pairing throughout Game 5 action, and Franzen would light the lamp. So the IceHogs off to a great start, Brittany, but they know that the Texas Stars, as they have done so many times throughout this series, they knew they were going to fight back, so the IceHogs needed probably a couple more goals to grab some cushioning, and it didn't take long for them to take a 2-0 lead.
This is the first time the IceHogs have had a 2-goal lead against the Stars in this entire series, so that cushion is something they needed throughout the other games, and they just couldn't get, and Luke Johnson was able to give it for them. Victor H. was caught in a little board battle and gave a nice backhand pass to almost a wide-open Luke Johnson, who kind of backdoored it past McKenna.
And Johnson had a goal and an assist in Game 4, so he continues his hot play to make it 2-0 IceHogs in the opening period. But that really opened up the Texas Stars and kind of shook them up a little bit, and then after that, Texas would go and pretty much try and mount a comeback in that first period alone. The Stars had 15 shots in that opening frame, a part of an overall 40-shot game for this Texas Stars group here in game number 5. But Texas, obviously, they did not want to go back home with a little bit of a seed of doubt planted in their mind.
Yeah, those 2 goals, like you said, definitely shook that Texas team. It kind of woke them up. I think they were just kind of ready to, looking to end the series that day or a couple days ago. And those 2 goals really kind of shook them to the core, and they came out in that second period just blazing. Those IceHogs had to really kind of bear down and weather through that Texas storm.
And Texas would turn up the heat even more in that second period. In fact, they'd catch a break. A shot coming from the right side would get blocked, and it would roll right to Rope Hintz, who has had himself a pretty good series as well as an overall playoff year for the Texas Stars. And he would go waltzing in and get a nice shot away, high blocker side on Jeff Glass. And all of a sudden, Brittany, becomes 2-1, and then you start wondering, okay, like next goal, that's pretty much going to decide who's going to take this game away.
And those 2-1 games are something that even luck kind of plays into it. You heard Colleton say in the post-game interviews, those 2-1 games or 1-goal games are ones where you're a bounce away from either winning or losing that game. So those are very dicey, and the IceHogs were able to get that 3rd goal in the 3rd period.
Probably one of the wildest bounces we have seen all playoff year and all across the professional hockey landscape. David Camp, who hasn't had a point or a goal throughout the postseason. He certainly had his chances. He even hit the post in the first period. He's been close. All he had to do is just simply a flick of the wrist from just inside the blue line, and goaltender Mike McKenna of the Texas Stars, a mishandle off the blocker, and it would tip on past him, and that would make it a 2-1 game, 3-1 for Rockford in the 3rd period. And all of a sudden, you can start seeing Cedar Park here from BMO Harris Bank Center.
Yeah, but that 3rd period, though, that end, Texas it was a 4-on-4. They pulled McKenna to make it a 5-on-4, and then they had the 6-on-4 out of that box. And that couple of minutes, it was about 3 minutes left in that 3rd, Jeff Glass had to fight off shots from everywhere. And I'm glad he did, obviously, because they're now going back to Texas. But that Texas offense was intense for that 2nd and 3rd period.
And it was a little slice of what's to come here in game number 6 out at Cedar Park with Jeff Glass, the bright and shining star for the Rockford IceHogs. Clearly the #1 star coming out of game at number 5, over 40 saves for him moving forward, especially after playing 2 back-to-back pressure cook situations, must-win scenarios after not having played a game in a single month. But obviously a veteran goaltender knows how to get himself going in big games like that.
Yeah, he said it throughout all of his interviews. The goalie's job is just kind of be ready and help the team win whenever you're called on. If you're sitting and that's helping the team win, you got to accept that role. And then when they call you to go between the pipes, you better show up. And he definitely has this postseason.
So exciting to see another big game for Jeff Glass. And, of course, the Rockford IceHogs with goals from Luke Johnson as well as Cody Franson, and then David Camp. That lucky bounce in the third period helped them to a 3-1 victory over the Texas Stars in game number 5 to force game number 6 here this evening out at Cedar Park. Well, we'll catch up with the coaching staff, hear from some of your favorite players as well, and then Brittany and I will dive into the 3 keys going into game number 6, all coming up here on IceHogs Warm Up.